Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Rosenberg, Mr. Brandon, thank you for your service. Thanks for being here today. You know, for 8 years, the Obama administration was continually pushing the supposition that far too many low-level, nonviolent drug offenders were being investigated and prosecuted and imprisoned federally. President Obama issued 1,715 commutations. That represents an awful lot of federal man hours, women hours, hours where people had their lives on the line to make those arrests and see them through to prosecution. He also had a flat 212 outright pardons of drug offenders that he claimed were serving lengthy prison terms. At one time, I looked, and the figures Jeff Sessions had gotten was that seemed like nearly 3/4 of those who were in federal prison for simple possession actually were not in the United States. They weren't U.S. citizens. They weren't here legally. But the number of possessions, there weren't that many in federal prison for possession compared to traffickers. So the public has gotten the idea that people in federal prison are these poor guys that maybe they smoked a joint or something and ended up doing life without parole. But my experience in my time as a state assistant DA and my time as a felony judge, the federal prosecutors normally didn't take small cases. What is your experience, Mr. Rosenberg?
I was a federal prosecutor, sir, for many years, and I just personally did not see cases involving low-level first-time offenders. We didn't have the resource. We had neither the resources nor the inclination to do those types of cases. Now,
the state did, though, right? If there was something to prosecute, they would go ahead. You would say, we're waiving off, you guys take it?
It wouldn't be unusual, sir, for a case to be split, where we take the higher level, more serious offenders
the federal
federally.
Would take the higher,
and others go to state prosecutors or are null prost. That's entirely possible, too. But from a federal perspective, that was not my experience that we would do low-level first-time offenders.
And when we see somebody in federal prison for simple possession, makes me wonder, based on my experience, I want to ask your experience, did you see people offered a plea agreement that they'd only be prosecuted for simple possession if they would turn and help them go after the other guy? It seemed like that was the only time federal officials wanted to go after simple possession.
That's plausible. Ironically enough, given my current job, I was actually not a narcotics prosecutor when I was an assistant U.S. attorney. But there might be reasons why you find folks who fit that description in federal prison, but it has to be the exception and not the rule. It has to be, in my experience, an extenuating circumstance or somebody who may have plea bargained down to something like that. But it would surprise me if there was a very large number of that.
Well, there weren't that many in federal prison for simple possession. Well, we have a president who had promised, you may have heard something about something called a wall. And some think that's being punitive to Mexico. But it seems to me when you look at Mexico, they have some of the hardest working people in the world. The location is absolutely perfect for being maybe the greatest trading partner the world has ever seen, with 2 oceans, 2 continents on either side, and yet there's not, I mean, their economy is in the 60s. It seems like they ought to be in the top 10. But the reason I keep hearing over and over companies are not moving there more quickly than they are is corruption, and corruption's related to the drug cartels related to the tens of billions of dollars in drugs coming across our border. if we secured the border with a wall where it's possible and really got serious about securing the border. Yeah, there may be tunnels, but there's new technology that could anticipate and determine when there were being tunnels. If we really got serious about enforcing that border, what would you see, based on your experience, happening to drug availability in the illegal drug availability in the United States?
Here's what worries me, sir. As long as there remains a significant demand in the United States and a significant profit to be made from meeting that demand, the traffickers are going to find a way to get this poison into our country. As far as a wall goes...
So you don't see, no matter how much we protect ourselves from the free flow of narcotics across our southern border, it won't affect any supplies here in the U.S.?
I'm not a border...
That's an interesting position, by the way.
I'm not... border security is important, and I've worked in national security, so I appreciate its importance. I'm talking about a more, sort of a smaller dynamic, which is with a significant demand and a significant profit margin. I worry that traffickers are going to find a way. Under, around,
I understand your worry. I just wanted to get, you know, you're under oath basically here. It's a crime to not tell the truth to a congressional committee. So I just want to make sure the record's clear your position. We secure the border, cut drugs to a trickle coming in from Mexico. You don't see it having much effect.
No, I didn't say that, sir.
You said they'll find a way to be here.
I believe they'll find a way to be here.
So that won't affect. So it won't affect the drug availability.
We could well see price fluctuations. Look, it's a good thing to secure our border, no question. It'll make a difference in the work we do. I just find it difficult to imagine, given the profit that's to be made, that we could turn it down to zero.